Hello and welcome back. Thank you for everyone who's subscribed, left a comment, gave me a thumbs up. I appreciate that. This is day 6 of walking the Hexatetraglyph. The Hexatetraglyph is this device, this divination board sitting in front of me. It's basically a map of the I Ching. When you travel up or right, you're moving in a yang direction. When you travel down or left, you're moving in a yin direction. With that said, you can see the way that the whole board is organized by just following any pathway to any one of the 64 potential destinations, which are the hexagrams of the I Ching. If you are just finding this channel and this is the first video you've started watching, I do recommend going back to the first video and just seeing how I cover the basics there. That'll help you to be familiarized with the process, and then you can come jump back in with where we're at. But we're on day 6. All right, so we're about to finish up the first pathway. So tomorrow, day 7, we will reach a second pathway. We'll figure out which direction we're going to be moving in once the first pathway is cleared. So we've been moving vertically right now. We'll be moving either left or right. So you'll get to see how that works out tomorrow. So yesterday we worked with Saturn and Aries. Every day we work with astrology to come up with a question or a topic for our personal journal. Yesterday was Saturn and Aries, and I talked about how I have sort of a disciplinarian archetype in my personality and how that was probably put there by the military. You know what, maybe some of it is just natural to who I am, and a lot of it was things I picked up along the way. So we went through 3 tarot cards and I was a little stumped with those yesterday. That leads me to want to continue exploring that topic. You know, I'd like to dive in a little bit more. So I hope today I will draw a planet that lends itself well to that same topic. I think we will come up with a spread right now, a tarot card spread. And what I'm thinking is we do inner energy, outer energy, and kind of the result or the interaction of the two energies. If you know about the 5 element theory in like Chinese alchemy, the I Ching, you can check out Benabel Wen's videos about that. She explains it quite a bit. But the 5 phases or elements, you know, you could take fire and water and see how they interact. You know, the water is going to diminish the fire and make it weaker, you know, because it extinguishes it. Like traditional Chinese medicine and stuff like that uses the 5 elements theory. And really, I think the roots of the whole theory, if you look far back enough, they're tied to, you know, like an Eastern form of astrology. I'm not an expert in that, but that's what gave me the inspiration here is let's look at what's going on internally with me or in my world, in my mind, in my emotions, even my unconscious maybe. For the first card. The second one is more like my environment, my surroundings. And you can use this spread too if you'd like to. I'm just giving an idea here. And the third, I would say, is kind of an outcome, but you could also call it an interaction. Like what happens when you have these 2 situations happening simultaneously? What's the result of that? So we'll go with a spread with the tarot cards. I've really come to find that I do like just giving a general topic for my journal. I really enjoy using astrology, just a very simple astrology idea, because it reminds me of free association, like what Freud would do. You know, you just need a keyword or some keywords, and then you just start associating off of it. And then there you go. Now you sort of have your journaling topic for the day. Then you pull your tarot cards and you put some flesh on the bones. You get to examine it from another perspective. So this is very much psychological, but could there be divination in it? Sure. You know, if you want to make predictions or if you want to interpret the card to see possibilities. A big reason why I bring three systems together is because it's kind of a synchronicity making machine. I'd like to talk about some of this more in another episode, but really what inspired me is I'm not a Taoist. I mean, I think Taoism is very fascinating, but I wasn't raised that way or anything. But about 8 years ago, I came across the I Ching because I knew that Jung had written the forward to it, and I thought that was fascinating. And then I looked at the pattern of the I Ching, and I just instantly thought it was amazing. I thought, oh, this thing analyzes like a computer. Like, yeah, you could use coins, flip 3 coins, and do that 6 times, and then it will calculate kind of the energy of how you did it, and then it gives you feedback. And I thought, what if the I Ching was my Carl Jung, what was my analyst, was my psychologist, my Freud, and I made my input mechanism a little bit more dynamic, a little more interactive, where I'm communicating with the I Ching, and then it analyzes and gives me a hexagram back. So I have been allowing my unconscious, my psyche, my dreams, visions, whatever you want to say, to show me this design over the course of about 8 years. I came up with some different ideas, but this is what I think the true form of it is. And it turned into like a walking pilgrimage. You walk this path, and your choices and your subjective decisions turn into, I went up and then right and then up and then right and up and right, and I got to hexagram 1. I'm choosing everything very yang, so my psyche, my spirit, my soul is just synchronized with that. Well, then you can look over your card choices. You see all 78 cards. You can look at the way you worked with the planets and the astrology, and maybe you can pick up on some synchronicity in there too. So very Jungian in that way, right? Now, whether Jung was a scientist or a mystic, hey, I think he was both, but that's up for interpretation. And it's a conversation for another day. I was a huge skeptic of anything magical or esoteric, and Jung was really what brought me into all of it. So I think that should tell you something. Anyways, that's a lot of rambling. Hopefully you enjoy some of that, though. This is an experiment. 27 days. I want to see what happens. I want this to be a database that people can go back to and say, hey, what happened when Colin actually tried this thing all the way through for the first time? Is it worthwhile? Did it help him in some way? Now realize I am a person that deals with psychological issues, depression, anger, anxiety. I'm a veteran. I'm a combat vet. Yada, yada, yada. Do I expect it to just completely, fix all of my issues or anything like that overnight? No. But this is an attempt to do some inner work. And I'm open to just see what happens. I'm trying to put as much out there as I possibly can, and protect a little bit of my own, really personal details. I'm trying to strike that balance. But I want to continue looking at that disciplinarian, that archetype of the stoic soldier, commander. So let's draw 2 planets, and then I will choose one to work with. All right, so. All right, Venus and Mars. I don't know if I've drawn either of these yet, but we have to classify them first. So I'm going to classify Mars as Yang, put it up here on the upper side of pathway 1 on position F. That's where we're at today, is F. And then Venus down here. Venus right now is in Cancer. Mars is in Libra. Those are both good choices for me today. But I think Venus is standing out because, whoops, hopefully that's not a sign that I shouldn't pick Venus. All right, I think Venus is standing out because it's in Cancer. My sun is in Cancer. I deal with a lot of strong emotions. And yesterday I was talking about how I struggle with just I'm having a little bit of a rough time enjoying being social and things like that. I think Venus might have something good to say about that aspect of my personality, why it is the way it is. So let's grab a book. All right. So this is Astrology by Carol Taylor. And here's Venus. We get those keywords. We're looking for some keywords here. Pleasure, enjoyment, relationships, cooperation. You have love and sexual desire, beauty, romance, attraction, aesthetics, art and music. And let's see, when Venus is in Cancer, this is a placement high in sentiment and feeling, creating strong emotional bonds. Your friendship group might feel like family. Okay. Maybe we'll take a quick look at Cancer as well. Cancer. Polarity, negative, mode. So it's yin. It's cardinal. So it has a lot of change in it, inherent in it. And it's the element of water. It's ruled by the moon. And part of the body that it's related to is the stomach, which I find interesting because I experience so much I experience anxiety with my stomach. You know, it's very body based. I just I feel my stomach tense, or like I need to breathe, and that's really what got me into meditation, which led me on the whole path to getting a bit into spirituality, and then Jung and close bonds, sign of the mother, home and family, tenacity, need for security, powerful intuition, sideways strategy, withdrawal under pressure, feelings are paramount, easily hurt. Yeah, well, there we go. That gives us a little bit of information here. So with that, let's take a few moments and come up with a topic for our personal journaling today. I'll just leave some keywords here. Okay, hopefully that was enough time to come up with a journaling topic. If you need some more time, you can always pause. But what we're going to do now is draw 3 tarot cards. The first one is going to represent an internal energy, what's going on with the psyche, the soul, the spirit, the mind, however you want to put that. I'm leaving it a little bit open so that everyone can interpret it in their own way. But that's some ideas. So this is the inner energy. All right, so here we go. The 10 of Wands, card 1. Now, this is going to be more of an environmental exterior, what's happening on the outside, in the environment. And we have the 7 of Wands. We got a lot of wands going on here, 17 of them so far. What do we got? Make that 18 wands. I don't know why I had a feeling we were going to get another wand. At least one. And there it is. Man, that's a lot of fire. Okay. So let me just take a minute to take out a book here. I'm going to think about this and pull some keywords, or maybe we'll read just a bit out of a book. Okay, so I have a book by Marcus Katz, Tally Goodwin. I'm not sure if that's how you say the name, Tally. I watch Marcus Katz pretty often, and I've enjoyed this book. If you really like someone who puts a lot of deep thought and investigation into understanding tarot, You'd probably like Marcus Katz. You can look him up on YouTube. He does readings and everything there. So here's the Ten of Wands. The chief meaning is oppression simply, but it is also fortune, gain, and any kind of success. So it's a mixture of oppression and fortune, I guess, because you can see that there's a whole bunch of materials this guy has acquired. He's carrying them, but they're also oppressing him. More money, more problems. Let's just leave it at that. And I've pulled up these other two cards here too. See if we can put a little bit of a narrative together with just some of the meanings of all of these wands. All right, so the Seven of Wands. It is a card of valor, for on the surface, 6 are attacking one who has, however, the vantage position. He's got the high ground. On the intellectual plane, it signifies discussion, wordy strife in business, negotiations, war of trade, barter, competition. It is further a card of success, for the combatant is on top, and his enemies may be unable to reach him. So I'm thinking, who is it in the card? Is it me? Am I the one that's on the high ground? I'm not sure. I think so. What happened to all my wands? I was carrying them all over here internally. Now they're all down here. Someone else has all the wands. All right, so here's one last wand card, the Ace. Creation, invention, enterprise, principle, beginning, source, birth, family, origin, and in a sense, the virility which is behind them. The starting point of enterprises. All right, so is there a story here? Okay, so Venus in Cancer. I wanted to understand this kind of authoritarian that I have inside of me, in my personality. Let's just face it, it would be healthier for me to be able to loosen up and enjoy socializing more. Internally, I'm carrying a whole bunch. Things I've been acquiring for a very long time. Now you'd say, well, acquiring things can be great, right? Yeah, but if you acquire the wrong things, they become a burden. How does the Ten of Wands enjoy himself in a social setting? Look at him. Does he look like he's being social and having a good time? No. I can make sense of that easily. The Seven. Well, that's me right there. I'm kind of intimidating with people. I'm a little bit too militaristic. I dominate in an argument or in a discussion most of the time, and it is hard to win when I'm like that. And it even mentioned that when we were reading those keywords with the Cancer crab. Yep, unfortunately, that's not good for your social life. That Venus placement is to allow beauty and relationships to be enjoyable, to be able to give myself permission and not always have to be this darn Seven of Wands. That actually does sort of explain the way that I sometimes behave. It's not the easiest thing to disclose to everybody, but it's a fact. It's a fact. And that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing this, and it's telling me the story. But what is this interaction as a positive Ace of Wands? I don't know yet. You know, that one for me is, that's the good omen once again, which I've been getting a lot. You know, that third card, it keeps coming out as an ace or a king. It feels like these gifts or good omens. What can I say? It's nice. It's a nice card to have. So I hope there is maybe something that I can realize by the time these 27 days are done. Something that helps me realize, why do I have these gifts coming to me in this form? So this has been very valuable, and tomorrow we get to find out how the first pathway ends up, yin or yang. I'm not even going to count the cards today. I know we had yin cards today, so they're going down here on the bottom left corner. And now you can see that we've stacked up a good pile on each side. Pretty soon we're going to compare those two and see which one contains the most. And that will determine our next pathway. All right. Take care. I hope you have a good night.